Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
Welcome to another edition of Through the Cat Flap. With me, your host, Sir Larry the Cat. In the last edition, we took a look at shiny-faced Dave, the alleged piggy diddler Cameron. Now I shall relay some of the life and times of the MayBot, Dancing Queen, and naked Wheatfield Rambler Theresa May. The MayBot did pioneer the modern slavery bill, and has been a staunch advocate for the bill ever since its inception in 2015.
As you say, this is a global problem. There are so many different countries, so many different cases, so many different circumstances. In fact, I was looking at the recent cases in your own country, the UK. You've got cases of sexual exploitation, you've got sweatshop labour workers, slavery in the shipping industry, and a recent conviction of a Ugandan judge who'd been serving as a UN criminal tribunal judge who was living in the UK and had bought a young Ugandan female as a slave to live with her in the UK. All awful cases, but this issue, there are so many different types of cases. It's not one size fits all, is it?
No, it isn't. There are many different types of cases. So there are the sexual exploitation, as you've mentioned, domestic servitude, forced labour in business supply chains. This is a big issue. We have key recommendations in this area that government should mandate businesses to act to investigate their supply chains and their own operations to see if there is forced labour, and then act to remediate that, to stop that from taking place and prevent it from happening in the future. So these are important aspects. This is not a one issue thing in a sense. There are many different aspects to modern slavery and human trafficking. That's why we need everybody to act. This can't be solved by one group. Governments can't solve it on their own. Businesses can't solve it on their own. Civil society can't solve it on its own. We all have to work together. And that's one of the points of having launched the report at the United Nations, showing that this is something that affects every country in the world. No country is immune, and we need to work together to end modern slavery and human trafficking.
One of the MayBot's very few endearing qualities, and praise where it is due the MayBot has stuck by the bill, giving many worthy speeches pushing for a crackdown to try and eradicate this horrendous crime. But as with all Tory Prime Ministers went on to blot her copybook, Theresa the MayBot served under the alleged piggy diddler Cameron as his Home Secretary from 2010 to 2016, where she brought in what became known as the hostile environment.
What this bill is taking things further and looking at those areas where I think most people think it's unfair. They think it's unfair that somebody can have an appeal after appeal after appeal. They think it's unfair that people can have access to public services like the health services without paying into them. And it's unfair that illegal immigrants, people who've got no right to be here, can live apparently easily, getting access to bank accounts, driving licenses and so forth. Those are the issues this bill addresses. So it makes it harder for people to be here illegally. It reduces the number of appeal rights that people have, and it means we'll be able to deport foreign criminals first and they'll appeal afterwards from outside the UK. Now what we're talking about and what will be in this new immigration bill is that certain categories of people coming here to stay in the UK for a particular period of time will be asked to pay a levy or a surcharge, and that'll be up front, and they'll be paying that. It'll be contributing so that they're not just able to come here and use our public services like the health service without having paid anything into it. What we're talking about is something very simple. We're saying that actually if you've got no right to be here in the UK, then we don't think it should be possible for you to rent properties. This is part of the proposals we've got to make it harder for illegal immigrants to be here in the UK. It's going to be very simple for landlords, just asking them to ask some questions about people's status, and the Home Office will provide support for them. There will be a hotline to the Home Office to provide support to landlords in doing this. We already do this for employers. It works well for employers. We're going to do the same system for landlords.
Complete with her signature, Go Home vans, which were deployed in ethnically diverse communities. This was not one of her more endearing moves.
So the Home Secretary has admitted defeat over her controversial Go Home advertising vans aimed at illegal immigrants. Theresa May told MPs the poster campaign was too much of a blunt instrument and would not be rolled out nationwide. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Simon Israel, has this report.
It's been described as gimmicky, divisive, disastrous, cheap, and a return to the 70s politics of the National Front. The van with the misleading go-home message to illegal immigrants has had a short shelf life. It survived 2 weeks on the road through certain immigrant communities in London during the summer, but today the Home Secretary admitted it was not a good idea.
I think politicians should be willing to step up to the plate and say when they think something actually hasn't been as good an idea, and I think they were too blunt an instrument.
The vans were an illustration of careless statistics. Their impact is, according to the Home Office, still being evaluated. The end of the government's Go Home Van campaign is an embarrassment.
This led into the Windrush scandal in 2018, when the MayBot was the Prime Minister and her Home Secretary, who was Amber Rudd, continued on with the hostile environment policy. Many relatives of those family members of the Windrush generation that came to the UK from the Caribbean to work and help rebuild it in the 1950s, suddenly finding themselves no longer welcome in the country they had come to know as home. Many received threatening letters from the Home Office, and they were asked to produce information that very few of them were given. Some were detained in deportation centres, unable to contact families or loved ones, given very little access to legal representation, and this after many had spent up to 60 years living and working in the UK. Of course, the MayBot apologised over and over again after getting caught.
I want to apologise to you today because we are genuinely sorry for any anxiety that has been caused.
We accept the Prime Minister's apology, and I believe that the right thing is being done at this time.
Did you ask for compensation, people who've been unfairly affected?
That there be a restoration of their rights, which is a much broader matter.
The Prime Minister's apology follows the Home Secretary's apology yesterday. Everyone is sorry. Beverly Booth has been here for 40 years. She came as a teenager from Jamaica in 1979 to join her parents and says she was given the right to stay here. But after the Home Office told her they can't find her records, she was threatened with deportation.
We are contacting you because the Home Office told you you no longer have the right to remain in the UK.
Since then, she was given a temporary right to stay, but that now has also run out. Life has become very difficult financially. Even the NHS is chasing her for medical bills. She fears eviction and deportation.
I feel more than betrayed because we was invited here. We didn't come. Our parents was invited here to come here. And when they come here, they would expect better treatment. And now we're here and we've done what we have to do, build up the country. Like they want to say, we don't want you here.
On board, on their way to Britain, the first wave of West Indians since...
Tonight, the government admitted that many of the registration documents from when the so-called Windrush generation arrived have now been destroyed. Even so, they've promised to deal with all cases that come to light sensitively and swiftly. Penny Marshall, ITV News.